There is a place where the noise stops. It is not a physical place. It is not a distant mountain, not a silent monastery in the countryside, not an empty beach on a weekday morning. It is a place that exists within a relationship. It is the place that opens when a human being, in the middle of everything pressing against them, in the middle of everything that has not stopped demanding and expecting more, simply pauses, breathes, and remembers that they are not alone. You arrived here carrying something. Perhaps it is a concern that refuses to leave your mind, even when you try to sleep, even when you try to distract yourself, even when you try to convince yourself that you are doing fine. Perhaps it is a relationship that hurts in a way you still have not found the right words to describe. A decision that must be made, yet you keep postponing it because none of the options seem good enough. Perhaps it is fear. The kind of fear that has no clear object, that is not fear of one specific thing, but a constant presence beneath everything, a tension that never completely leaves, a feeling that something could go wrong at any moment and that you must be prepared for it, even though you do not know what it is or when it might happen. Or perhaps it is exhaustion, not the kind that disappears after a good night's sleep, but the kind that is already there when you wake up, the kind that sits beside you at breakfast, follows you into work, and remains present even during moments that should feel light. The exhaustion that comes from carrying heavy burdens for too long, while no one around you notices how much weight you are bearing. This moment was made for you, not so that you can solve everything right now, not so that you can leave with answers to every question that still remains unanswered, but so that for a few moments you may encounter what the entire world cannot give you and what no distraction can replace: the presence of God. Quiet, real, closer than you imagine.
God hears. That is the first truth that must settle into your heart before anything else, before any instruction, before any invitation, before any reflection about what you need to change or do differently in your life. Before all of that, one thing must be established at the center of what you are feeling right now. God hears. Psalm 34 begins with a declaration that borrows nothing from favorable circumstances. It does not say, "I will bless the Lord when things get better." It does not say, "I will praise God when the pain passes, when the situation changes, when I finally have visible reasons to feel okay." It says, "I will bless the Lord at all times." At all times. In the season when life makes sense, and in the season when it does not. In the season when you feel close to God, and in the season when it feels as though your prayers have gone no farther than the ceiling. In the season when you are doing well, and in the season when you are at the bottom. At all times. This is not an easy declaration. It is a declaration forged by someone who knew helplessness from the inside. David wrote this psalm during one of the most humiliating moments of his life, when he had to pretend to be insane in order to escape an enemy king. In the middle of humiliation, in the middle of fear, in the middle of complete vulnerability, he said, "I will bless the Lord at all times." What sustained that confession was not the absence of pain, it was a certainty about the character of God that pain could not erase. This poor man cried out, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. Not some of them, all of them. Not when he was strong, not when he had everything under control, not when he had accumulated enough merit to deserve an answer. When he was poor, when he had no resources left, when the only thing he had to offer was his cry for help. And that was enough. You have that to offer right now as well. Your cry, your honesty about what you are feeling, your willingness to stop, even for a moment, and acknowledge that you need something beyond yourself. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. That is not a conditional promise. If your heart is broken right now, you are not far from God. You are in the very place where He draws near.
But there is a voice inside every person that resists this. A voice that says you need to solve it on your own. A voice that says asking for help is weakness, that depending on someone or something beyond yourself is proof that you are not capable enough. It says that if you were stronger, more disciplined, more focused, more determined, you would not be in this situation in the first place. That voice is ancient, and it lies. Isaiah 55 begins with an invitation that only makes sense if you acknowledge that you are thirsty. Come, all ye who are thirsty, come to the waters. It is not an invitation for those who are already satisfied, for those who have already figured everything out, for those who arrived at the source by their own strength. It is an invitation for those who are hungry, thirsty, empty, and weary. The condition for entry is not strength, it is need. Then comes one of the most unsettling questions in all of Scripture, a question that is not rhetorical, not decorative, not included simply to sound profound. Why spend money on what is not bread, and your labor on what does not satisfy? Why do you keep investing in what does not work? Why do you keep searching in the same places for what those places have never been able to provide? This is not a question of condemnation. It is a question of diagnosis, because the honest answer reveals something most people know but rarely say out loud. Most of the strategies we use to deal with the weight inside us never reach the place where that weight actually lives. Anxiety does not disappear through more information. Emptiness is not healed through more consumption. Loneliness does not end through more connections that never move beyond the surface. That does not mean information, connection, or rest are bad or useless. It means that none of them, by themselves, can reach the place where the pain is truly rooted. Isaiah 55 is removing, one by one, the alternatives that seem reasonable but lack the depth necessary to touch what needs to be touched. Not because they are wrong, because they are insufficient for the magnitude of what is at stake.
Incline your ear and come to me. Listen, and your soul shall live. It does not say that your circumstances will immediately change. It does not say that your problems will disappear the moment you turn in the right direction. It says that your soul shall live. The very center of who you are will begin receiving what it has always needed and has not been receiving. And that is different from anything the previous solutions could ever offer. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
At first glance, that could sound distance, as though God is so far above that he could never understand what you are experiencing down here. But the context says the opposite. This declaration comes immediately after an invitation. It comes right after God says, "Come." It comes right after he promises abundant mercy and freely given forgiveness to those who return to him. The difference between God's thoughts and your thoughts is not distance, it is capacity. God sees what you cannot see from where you stand. God reaches what you cannot reach with the tools you currently have. And God is not using that difference to remain distant from you. He is using it to go where you cannot go on your own, to reach the depths that self-sufficiency has never been able to reach, not because you have not tried hard enough, but because self-sufficiency has a built-in limit that cannot be overcome by the effort of the person trapped inside it. You cannot lift yourself up by pulling on your own hair. Self-sufficiency is not merely a practical limitation. It is an illusion that comes at a cost. As long as you hold on to it, as long as you continue believing that the way out depends entirely on your ability to do the right things with enough strength, you are closing the door to the only presence capable of going deep enough to change what truly needs to be changed within you. That escape route has already been eliminated, not through force, through the honest recognition that it cannot take you where you need to go.
There is a second alternative that appears more sophisticated and is therefore harder to recognize as a problem. If pure self-sufficiency does not work, then perhaps the solution is a religious version of it. Do the right things. Pray the right way at the right time, using the right words. Fast with discipline. Give generously. Serve faithfully. And hope that the sum of all these practices will produce the peace you are searching for. Jesus understood this logic from the inside. He grew up in a culture where religion stood at the center of social and cultural life. And in Matthew 6, he dismantled it with a precision that leaves very little room for negotiation. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. The word hypocrite in the original Greek is a theatrical term, an actor wearing a mask. Jesus is not speaking only about people who pray publicly in order to be noticed, admired, and praised by others. He is addressing a deeper and far more common inner structure, the mindset of someone who practices religion in order to produce a desired outcome within themselves, whether that outcome is the approval of others, the feeling of having fulfilled an obligation, or the hope that God will act in exchange for the effort they have invested. That is not relationship, it is a transaction. And transactions do not produce peace, they produce performance anxiety. They create the constant question that lingers beneath everything. Have I done enough? Have I prayed with enough faith? Do I deserve the answer I am asking for? Has my devotion been deep enough for God to respond this time? That question never receives a final answer when the system is transactional, because there is always more that could have been done. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. The closed room is not a concentration technique designed to improve the quality of your prayers. It is a picture of intimacy. It is the place where you do not have to be more than you are, where there is no audience to impress, where there is no performance to maintain, where you can simply be human before God. Our Father in heaven. The prayer Jesus teaches does not begin with a request. It does not begin with a list of needs. It does not begin with a negotiation. It does not begin with a presentation of spiritual credentials. It begins with the recognition of a relationship. Father, not a distant judge who must be persuaded, not a heavenly manager evaluating performance. Father, the most intimate category of relationship that human language can name. And from within that relationship, every request emerges from an entirely different place. Daily bread is not demanded as a right earned through effort. The forgiveness of debts is not claimed as a reward for services rendered. Deliverance from temptation is not negotiated in exchange for the fulfillment of religious obligations. Everything comes as a conversation between a child and a father who is already inclined to give before the child has even finished asking. Do not worry about your life. This instruction does not come from someone who fails to understand the cost of living, who does not know what it is like to pay bills, maintain relationships, or make difficult decisions. It comes from someone who wants to dismantle the false structure upon which anxiety is built. Anxiety is built upon a specific assumption that God's care is contingent, that He cares for you only if you do everything right, only if you deserve it, only if you produce the expected spiritual results. Jesus points to the birds, to the flowers of the field that do not labor, do not spin, do not spend their days worrying about whether they will be beautiful enough tomorrow. And He says, look at them. The Father cares for them, not because they earned it, not because they produced something in return, not because they fulfilled an obligation. The Father cares because it is the nature of a father to care, and you are worth far more than they are. God's care is not a wage you receive after working hard enough. It is grace that comes before you have done anything to deserve it. Religious performance has been eliminated as a way out, not because spiritual practices are irrelevant, and not because praying, fasting, and serving are useless, but because spiritual practices performed as an attempt to earn divine approval never touch the center of the problem. The center of the problem is a matter of trust, not performance.
But at this point, there needs to be an honesty that is often left out when we talk about faith and peace. Knowing all of this does not automatically change how you feel. You can have Psalm 46 memorized and still wake up at 3 in the morning with your heart racing. You can have heard 100 sermons about God's care and still feel, in the depths of a difficult day, as though you are carrying your burden completely alone. Knowledge is not the same as experience. There is a particular kind of pain in that reality, the pain of knowing what should be true and not being able to feel that it is true. The pain of possessing the language of faith without having, in that moment, the experience that seems like it should accompany it. The pain of preaching to yourself and realizing that the sermon is not reaching the place it needs to reach. Psalm 73 begins with a declaration of faith. Surely God is good to Israel, to those who are pure in heart. And then immediately comes the confession. But as for me, my feet had almost slipped. I had nearly lost my foothold. Almost. This is not the story of someone who never wavered, who always possessed an unwavering and immovable faith. It is the story of someone who came very close to letting go of everything. For I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Surely in vain have I kept my heart pure and have washed my hands in innocence. All day long I have been afflicted, and every morning brings new punishment. This is a costly confession to make, the confession of someone who did the right things and did not see the expected result, someone who remained faithful and felt as though faithfulness was not enough, someone who tried and felt as though the effort led nowhere. Perhaps you know that place from the inside. And what needs to be said right now is that God is not afraid of that place. The presence of this psalm in Scripture is proof that God does not require you to pretend you are okay when you are not. He does not demand that you maintain a performance of faith that does not match your inner experience. Honesty about where you truly are does not push you away from God. More often than not, it becomes the road back to Him. What the psalmist does with that pain is what changes everything. When I tried to understand all this, it troubled me deeply until I entered the sanctuary of God. He went in the middle of confusion, in the middle of envy, in the middle of everything that seemed twisted and unresolved. He went to the place of encounter with God. Not because he felt ready, not because all his questions had been answered, but because he realized that outside of that place, no resolution was possible.
The third escape is the most seductive because it seems the most rational. If God doesn't act immediately in the way we expect, and if spiritual effort doesn't automatically produce peace, then what's left to me is to control as much as possible of what happens around me, to manage risks in advance, to anticipate problems before they happen, to prepare myself for every possible scenario, to keep everything under constant supervision so that nothing catches me off guard. Psalm 46 begins by acknowledging that the world does not cooperate with this strategy. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea. The mountains being carried into the sea is not decorative hyperbole meant to liven up a poem. It is the image of a reality radically out of control. It is the image of what happens when the structures you considered permanent stop being permanent. The job that seemed secure 2 years ago, the relationship that seemed solid enough to last, the health that seemed stable until the day it wasn't anymore. The plan that seemed well built until the moment the surrounding context changed completely. Sometimes the mountains move, and when the mountains move, the strategy of control collapses, not because it was weak, but because it was built for a world where mountains don't move. And that world doesn't exist. The real world is a place where things that seemed permanent reveal their temporariness without warning, and the strategy of control, however sophisticated, however many variables it manages to cover, will always reach the point where human capacity to anticipate ends and the territory of the unpredictable begins. And it is exactly at that point that it collapses most violently, because you invested everything in it. Psalm 46 doesn't offer an improved method for keeping the mountains in place. It doesn't say, here are 5 more effective control strategies that will work where yours failed. It offers something radically different, a refuge that remains a refuge even when the mountains move, a fortress whose solidity doesn't depend on the stability of external circumstances in order to remain solid.
There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. In the middle of an image of total chaos, mountains collapsing into the sea, waters roaring and foaming, a river appears, quiet, steady, without the drama of raging oceans. A river whose streams bring joy, not terror. A calm presence that does not respond to external turmoil with the same agitation. The peace of God is not the absence of turmoil on the outside. It is the presence of something quiet on the inside that the outside world cannot remove, no matter how fiercely it tries. It is not the peace of someone who has no problems. It is the peace of someone who possesses something within that is greater than the problems surrounding them. And that difference changes everything about the way you walk through what you are facing. God is within her, she will not be shaken. God will help her at break of day. The city is not unshaken because it has been protected from every external threat, not because threats do not exist or never come near. It remains unshaken because God is in the midst of it. The protection does not come from the absence of danger. It comes from the presence of God in the middle of the danger. And that is an entirely different kind of protection. Be still and know that I am God. In Hebrew, the verb translated as be still carries the idea of letting go, releasing, loosening the tension that comes from gripping something too tightly. It is not an invitation to passivity. It is an invitation to transfer, to open the hand that has been clenched around something you have been trying to carry on your own, and acknowledge that there is someone who can carry what you do not have the capacity to sustain. To know that God is not merely theological information to be stored in the mind alongside other facts. It is an existential posture. It is the decision to live as though the sovereignty of God is real enough to change the way you carry your burdens, the way you sleep at night, and the way you face the day ahead. The escape route of control has been eliminated, not through force, but through a better offer. Not you cannot control everything, but rather you do not need to, because the one who can is present, and he is faithful.
There is a fourth escape route that operates more quietly than the others. If none of the previous solutions have worked, perhaps the answer is simply to become invisible enough that no one truly sees you, not in a dramatic or deliberate way, but by living on the surface, by never allowing anyone to go deep enough to see what is really happening inside, by storing the heaviest parts of yourself in a place no one can access, smiling when necessary, functioning when required. Psalm 139 dismantles this escape route with gentleness and with a precision that leaves no room to hide. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit and when I arise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. From afar. Before you form the sentence, before you decide whether you will share it or keep it hidden, before you choose which version of yourself you will present today, God already knows what lies beneath the version you present. That could sound terrifying, to be completely known without having chosen to be. Yet the psalm does not present that knowledge as a threat. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Surrounded not like a prisoner with no escape, surrounded like someone being embraced from every side. The hand resting upon you is not the hand of an inspector who has discovered what was hidden. It is the hand of a father who knows his child better than the child knows himself. There is also a fifth escape route, one that becomes a substitute for all the others when they fail. If the present feels too heavy, then live in the future. Not the future as grounded hope, but the future as anxious projection, the place where you mentally solve everything before anything has happened, where you anticipate every possible scenario, every potential threat, every imaginable loss, as though worrying about problems beforehand could somehow protect you from suffering them later. John 14 begins at precisely this point. The disciples were standing before the greatest disruption they had ever faced. Jesus was telling them that he was about to leave. The world they knew was on the verge of changing in a radical and irreversible way. And what were they doing? The same thing people always do when confronted with the uncontrollable, trying to understand, trying to anticipate, trying to map out what would happen so that the impact might hurt less when it arrived. And Jesus said,
do not let your hearts be troubled. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. The peace the world offers is conditional. It depends on everything being aligned, on the mountains remaining in place, on your questions being answered, and your control remaining intact. The peace of Christ has no such dependency. It was given in the moment of greatest pressure, when every human reason for peace seemed to have disappeared, not after the storm had passed, in the middle of it.
Every alternative has now been examined. Self-sufficiency cannot reach the place where pain truly lives. Religious performance produces performance anxiety, not peace. Control over circumstances collapses when the mountains move, and the mountains do move. Anonymity is impossible before the one who already sees everything and remains. Escaping into the future is simply anticipated suffering disguised as preparation. Each of these escape routes has been honestly tested. Each has been found insufficient for the weight you are carrying. What remains is not a new idea. It is not a technique that has not yet been tried. It is what was there from the very beginning, the presence of God. Not as a comforting concept, not as a poetic metaphor, not as a pleasant idea for difficult times, but as the one reality that remains when everything else is tested and found limited, as the one place where the soul finally encounters what it has truly been searching for. Romans 12 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God." To conform is to take the shape of something external, to allow the pressures around you to determine the form of what is within you. And the world, life organized without God at the center, constantly applies pressure. It says that you are what you produce, that your worth is measured by what you achieve, and that you are safe only when you remain in control. The renewing of the mind is the opposite process. It is the form of your life being shaped from the inside out, the Spirit working at the center and changing how you see, how you interpret, and how you carry the things you carry. This does not happen all at once. It is not a single experience that solves everything. It happens through the accumulation of moments like this, moments when you stop, moments when you choose the presence of God over distraction, moments when you become quiet enough to hear what has been spoken all along. 1 John 4 says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear." Fear is not overcome by courage. It is not a matter of developing enough willpower to reach the right level of strength. Fear is overcome by love, because fear operates on assumptions that perfect love dismantles. You are alone. The outcome depends entirely on you, and if you fail, there will be no recovery. Every one of those assumptions is undone by the presence of someone who knows everything and still remains. Isaiah 43 speaks to people who are in the water, not standing safely on the shore looking at it. "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you." It does not say that God will immediately remove you from the water. It says that He will be with you in the water. The presence of God is not the promise of a life without crossings. It is the promise of companionship within the crossing. You have reached the end of this moment carrying something. Perhaps a little lighter than when you arrived. Perhaps with the same questions, but with a different perspective on them.
perhaps with a clarity that still has no precise words, yet remains there, deep within your heart, like something that has finally settled into the place where it needed to settle. Perhaps you are still carrying the same weight, but now with the awareness that the weight does not have to be carried alone. Now comes the part that only you can do. This is not a suggestion. It is not one possibility among many. It is a declaration about what is real and about what that reality requires from those who recognize it. Every escape route that seemed available has been tested and found limited, not through philosophical argument, but through the honest experience of those who tried and discovered that those paths could not take them where they needed to go. What remains is also what has always been available. God is here, not as an idea, as a presence. The same presence that drew near to the brokenhearted in Psalm 34, the same presence that called the thirsty in Isaiah 55, the same presence that said to troubled disciples in John 14, "Do not let your hearts be troubled." The same presence that waited in the sanctuary when the psalmist of Psalm 73 arrived carrying his crisis within him. That presence will not disappear when this moment ends. It goes with you into the decision you have not yet made, into the relationship that is still broken, into the fear that still has no name, into the tomorrow that has not yet arrived, into every place where the solutions you once trusted have reached their limit and left you wondering what to do next. It goes with you into each one of those places. What this moment asks of you is simple and demanding at the same time. Stop trying to be what only God can be, not as the resignation of someone who has given up, but as the active trust of someone who has finally recognized where the weight belongs and where true strength is found. As the decision to live from the certainty that there is someone who sees what you cannot see, who reaches what you cannot reach, and who remains steady when everything else begins to shake. You know where the thing you are searching for is found. Go there. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances improve, not when you finally feel ready enough, not when the doubts disappear, not when life becomes more stable. Now, with everything you are carrying, with everything you still do not understand, with everything that still hurts and still has no answer, the Father who sees in secret is already looking upon you. Be still, know that He is God, and rest.